In this video, we're going to have a brief look at VoIP, which stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. Essentially, it refers to internet telephony, that is, telephone calls made via the internet. I'm Mark Pegram, and I'll be taking you through this material. Here's the usual copyright notice that you see at the start of all the online videos. Now, let's get started. Certainly, the best-known VoIP service is Skype, which has virtually become synonymous with internet telephony. Nowadays, Skype offers a lot of functionality which goes well beyond voice calls. As you can see on the screen here, there are also video calls, including group video calls. There's instant messaging, in other words, a text-based chat channel. There's screen sharing and even file sharing. So in many ways, this is about audio conversations complemented by other communication channels which form a multimodal ensemble. What makes VoIP especially useful for education is the fact that you can use it to preserve a permanent record of the interaction. The text chat channel will preserve a record automatically unless you delete it. But you can use free software such as Pamela to record the audio conversation as well, subject to the agreement of the people who are in the conversation. That means you can revisit the conversation later, you can listen closely to particular sections of it, and you can transcribe it. As a result, VoIP can be very useful if you're conducting interviews as part of a research project. If you want to know more about where and how you can make recordings of Skype calls, you might like to pause this video and go to the article that you can see on the screen. You'll find the address at the bottom of the screen. Alternatively, you can visit this article later. It's linked to from the VoIP page of the eLanguage Resources Wiki. There are also other services nowadays that make use of VoIP. One of the best known and one of the most popular amongst educators is Google Hangouts. If you haven't explored Google Hangouts before, you might like to pause the video and go to the address at the bottom of the screen to find out more about what this is all about. If you're interested in finding out about the full range of VoIP software that's available, and/or exploring the technical specifications of the software, you might like to pause the video again and go and have a look at this page on Wikipedia. Here you'll find a listing of all of the major VoIP services. Going beyond web-based services, it's worth remembering that there are many mobile apps that also allow audio or even video calling. Skype has its own mobile app. Beyond that, there are apps like Tango and also FaceTime for the iPhone or iPad. Many of today's major messaging apps also have audio and/or video channels. These include WhatsApp and Line. It's worth mentioning briefly that nowadays there's a fairly fine line between traditional VoIP on the one hand and chat and messaging on the other hand. If you're interested in finding out more about chat and messaging, there is a video available on that topic. Unsurprisingly, VoIP has found the largest number of applications in language learning, and there are quite a number of services out there which build on the idea of VoIP. This is one of them, the Mixer, which can help you to find language partners in different countries and supports your conversation with those partners through Skype. Now let's have a look at some variations on the idea of audio conversation through VoIP. Going beyond live audio or video calls, apps such as WhatsApp, WeChat, and FaceTime allow users to leave short audio or video recordings for each other. These can be played and replayed at a user's convenience. In a way, these are a bit like app-based versions of audio or even video discussion boards. This mobile app, called HelloTalk, takes the idea of an app-based discussion board and applies it specifically to language learning. Alongside text messages, HelloTalk also supports learners in leaving audio messages for each other. Those messages can be listened to multiple times, which is often important in a language learning context. In the future, students are likely to be able to gain more speaking practice by interacting with chatbots of different kinds. This is a screenshot from a Korean project which used Google's automatic speech recognition in order to create a virtual sales assistant that students could interact with by voice. Or here's the Speaking Pal app, which is already available as a tool for language learners. Thanks to speech recognition software, you can chat with a video character and you can receive feedback on the language that you produce. So that was a very brief look at VoIP. It's a technology which doesn't necessarily have a wide range of applications in education, but where it's useful, say for conducting and recording oral interviews or for language practice, it may be extremely effective. Of course, it's all about oral interaction, but as we said earlier, VoIP has moved largely towards multimodal formats. In traditional VoIP, or if you choose not to use the visual channel, there will be a lack of visual cues, but VoIP services nowadays are typically used more and more in multimodal formats. For a summary of the main points we've made about VoIP and links to relevant services, please see the VoIP page of the Digital Learning website, whose address you'll find at the bottom of the screen.